Hey, welcome to video number 2 of the API 28 video series. Today we are breaking down the most difficult part of the API 28 exam, telling you exactly what you need to prepare for and why this exam is tough. And this video is presented by AssociatePI. We are an independent organization not affiliated with the institutes or the API designation. My name is Jake. I'm going to help you pass your API 28 exam. Because I've passed mine, I've earned my API designation. So in this video, we're going to help you earn yours. As I mentioned, this is video number 2 of our 4-part video series. If you want to see the other videos, go to AssociatePI.com/videos. So let's get into it. This exam is pretty tough. It's the pass rate right now for this most recent testing window is 72%, meaning of everybody that attempted this exam, only 72% passed. So that makes it the second most failed API exam, only behind, I believe, the CPC 556, I think, had a pass rate of 70%, so a little bit harder. So it's a tough exam, and we're going to get into why it's so difficult. So the reason, there's a ton of content to memorize. There are actually 30 different types of personal insurance products, such as things like watercraft, umbrella insurance, homeowner insurance, each with unique underwriting treatment, minor details, different coverages, different conditions, different exclusions that you have to memorize. So 30 of them, that's a lot. The most difficult part, in addition to all the content that you have to memorize, is that each of those includes minor details, and the exam is going to try and trick you. So each of them, you have to know how to underwrite each personal insurance product, and then the multiple choice answer options on the exam will try to trick you by confusing the underwriting tactics for each insurance product with one another. So it really tries to trip you up and trick you. So as I just mentioned, the most difficult part, memorizing everything. A ton of personal insurance information to memorize, a ton of content. A lot of it you might not have seen before. So for example, in my experience, I worked a lot with the homeowners product and auto product. So I was okay on that side. But products such as watercraft, miscellaneous vehicles like the ATV, a mobile home, inland marine, I'd never worked with those products before, so I had no idea about all the different coverages, all the different conditions, exclusions, and how to underwrite each of these. So very difficult to memorize all of the content. The exam is going to try and trick you. You have to know how to underwrite every single type of personal insurance product in the exam. And again, as I mentioned, over 30 of them. We've counted, we've reviewed them all. You got to know all of them. Not all are as important. If you want to see which ones are most important, you can go over to AssociatePI.com/API28, where you give a breakdown of the important topics. Also, in the next video, we're going to go over that, video number 3. So tune into the next video. We'll touch on what are the most important topics. So now I've scared you a bit. This exam is tough, only a 72% pass, but I'm going to give you, in this slide, our plan of action, and in the next slide, my 3 tips to pass. So here's my plan of action. Step 1, you got to read every chapter, read them each one by one. Step 2, while you are reading the chapter, take notes, write down every single personal insurance product from the chapter. So for example, the chapter on miscellaneous vehicles, write down every single type of miscellaneous vehicle. And step 3, take note on the minor complexities of each. So for each miscellaneous vehicle, write down the coverages, the underwriting treatment, the conditions, the exclusions, write down everything that could be on the exam about that miscellaneous vehicle or that insurance product for the chapter. Step 4, compare each insurance product to one another. So you have to know the subtle differences between each type of insurance product. The exam is going to try and trick you. It'll trick you between how you might underwrite an ATV compared to underwriting a dirt bike. The multiple choice answer options will mingle these type of underwriting treatments and concepts. So you have to know each. So compare the personal insurance products to one another. Make sure you know how they differ, and compare the underwriting treatment to one another. Make sure you know how you underwrite one product versus how you underwrite another product. Lastly, once you have notes on every single one of the 30 plus personal insurance products, go back and study your huge list one by one and make sure you have them all memorized. So the reason I say take notes is you make your own study guide. You can then refer back to that study guide rather than flipping through the textbook to go through and re-review each concept. So make a study guide, go back through, study each, and study as a whole so you can compare one by one what is each product and what are the underwriting treatments of each. All right, now our 3 tips to passing. Kind of a repeat of what we just covered, but essentially 3 biggest tips to passing. Students that don't do this, these are the students that fail. If they don't do these 3 tips, you end up failing. So this is why it's our 3 key tips to passing the exam. Step 1, fully read the course. Even if you are familiar with personal insurance, you got to read the course. The full textbook, the course, whatever you are using for your study material, you got to read it. If you don't, you won't pass. While you are reading through the course, make a study guide. So we just touched on this in the last slide a little bit, but while you're going through, take notes on those minor details, each product, and the underwriting concepts for each. The reason I say make a study guide is so that you don't have to go back through the entire textbook to re-review and re-study. So what I do when I take these exams, I take notes as I go through each chapter. Then, once I finish the textbook, I have my study guide and I just study that. I don't have to worry about flipping through the textbook ever again. I got it all down in front of me in my own words so that I can memorize it with the minor details. Much easier that way. You take a giant textbook of 300, 400 pages and you chop it down into about 10 pages of your own notes, your own words, so that you can memorize it. And writing it down helps you memorize. So it's kind of twofold there, helps you really prepare for the exam. And lastly, you have to practice with real exam questions. So I recommend you take at least 300 practice questions. Take more if you can, but you got to practice. These exam questions are tricky. If you've taken a CPC or API exam in the past, you know how tough they can be. So practice the exam format because it's tough. And we'll go over this in video number 4 of the video series. We'll give you a practice exam, but make sure you practice. And if you do want to practice, I highly recommend you download our free practice exam at AssociatePI.com/practice exam. Here we give you some real exam questions to prepare you for what you might see on the exam. We also give you our study guide to make sure you focus on the most important topics. And we give you our underwriting guide, making sure you take notes on those complex underwriting concepts for every personal insurance product. So we tell you every personal insurance product and what to take notes on for each underwriting concept. So get that at AssociatePI.com/practice exam. And if you want to read more about the API 28, go over to AssociatePI.com/API 28. And that wraps it up for video number 2. Bit of a long one. In the next video, it's also going to be kind of long because we are going over the most important topics of the API 28. So very important one. We're going to break down exactly what you need to know for this exam. You can see that over at AssociatePI.com/videos. And that's it for this video. We will see you on the next one.